Hello, my friends. How are you? Shailesh sir here. Today we are going to discuss a very important chapter from class 9. Hmm? The name of the chapter is Gravitation from Physics. So let us start. You know our dear scientist Newton, Mr. Newton. He was observing nature in with deep interest and deriving so many laws from the observation of the nature. So first this law of gravitation is also discovered by this Newton, scientist Newton, and by only observation. These laws are not made by this Newton. They are already existed, but he discovered. We were not giving the name. He gave the name of this natural phenomenon, which is existing since the Earth is beginning of the Earth. Okay, so according to him, once he was sitting under the tree of apple, he saw the apple falling from upside tree towards the downside towards the earth, downside towards the earth. So he thought, okay, why apple is falling down towards the earth, not going in other direction or upward. So he thought and he found, he derived from this observation that this earth must have got some attraction power which is pulling all the objects towards its surface. So he gave the definition, the attraction power of the earth which pulls all the objects towards the surface of the earth or surface or center of the earth. This force of attraction of the earth is known as gravitation or gravitational force, or there is also another name, gravity. Gravity. That's all refer to the same thing, gravitation, gravitational force or gravity. But we will prefer this gravitation and gravitational force. Gravitation word is proper for our general use. Okay. So this was the law given. It is the attraction power, natural attraction power, which is invisible, mind well, which is invisible attraction power of the earth, which pulls all the objects towards its surface or its center. That's why when we throw any object upward, always it will fall down. It will not go upward or sideward. Always fall down after. Whatever height you go up, and it will definitely fall. Okay? Okay. This law is known as gravitation. But our scientist Newton also observed one another thing, which is not common in our general life, but it is fact in the science. Okay. So that he gave another law which he gave the name the universal law of gravitation. Sir, what is this universal law of gravitation? So we know now, okay, it is the attraction force of the earth. But what is this universal law of gravitation given by Newton? So he observed that scientifically, that every object or every particle, even every particle of the universe are exerting some attraction force on each other. All the particles are exerting this some attraction force on each other, and this and they are very minute, very less in quantity. So we can't feel it, or even we can't see it. So this attraction force between these two particles are depending on their distance and their masses. So if the more this the object masses of two, product of the masses of two objects are more, then force will be more. And the masses of the two object, product of the two objects are less, then this force by the object, attraction force will be less. So they are directly proportional to the masses of the object, two objects, because both the objects are attracting each other, mind well, with very low force, okay, which is not felt in general life. Okay. So, and also that depends on the distance. If two objects are kept far and far, then this force will be less. And when they come nearer and nearer, then force will be more. So they are inversely proportional to the distance. More the distance, force will be less. And less the distance, then force will be more between these two objects, my way. Okay? And and with respect to mass, more the mass, the force will be more. They are directly proportional with mass. And less the mass, total product of the mass of two object is less, then it will be force will be also less. That's why it is known as directly proportional to the mass and inversely proportional to the this distance. Okay, so now I am putting this scientific definition in the word full view. So remember, very important, this universal law of gravitation given by Newton, most important. So I am starting. Every body or every object in the universe exerts some attracting force toward each other. All the objects are exerting some attraction force toward each other, and this force is directly proportional to the product of their masses, both the masses of the objects, and inversely proportional to the distance square. In scientific word, he told this, they are inversely proportional to the distance square, square of the distance. This is the scientific definition. This is known as universal law of gravitation. So if we put this into the formula, then we get gravitational, this universal gravitation G, capital G, equal to, or G, universal gravitational force equal to G, that is known as gravitational constant, into m1 into m2, product of the masses, and upon the distance square, d square. Clear? Again, according to him, this force of this attraction is directly proportional to the masses and inversely proportional to the distance. So product of masses is m1 into m2, that is m1 m2, now upon inversely proportional of the distance square. So d, distance no d, we are putting d square, m1 into m2 upon d square. But here you have to write constant, which is known as capital G. So full definition, when you convert this proportion into the equal sign, then you have to put the constant. Here the constant is named as capital G. So capital G, gravitational constant, into m1 m2, that is product, upon d square, distance square, inversely is always kept in denominator, and directly proportional, that is always kept in the numerator. This is the law. Numerator indicates it is directly proportional, and this denominator indicates it is inversely proportional to the given item. Okay, so here what is the value of that constant, gravitational constant? Remember, 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11. Again, 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11. This is the value of gravitational constant G, capital G, capital G. Most important, this value. So it is always in the formula. Whenever you put the formula m1 into m2 upon d square, you have to attach this G, multiply by G. G into, then you put the formula m1 m2 upon d square. Clear? So this was about the universal law of gravitation given by scientist Newton, Mr. Newton. He gave law, general definition of gravitation, that is the pulling force of this earth, attraction force of the earth, and in universal definition, even every object also have some attraction force which are exerted towards each other, and they are depending on their directly proportional to the masses and inversely proportional to their distance. Clear? So this was all about this gravitation and universal law of gravitation. Okay, so that's all for today. Rest part of this chapter we will continue in the next part. Thank you.